Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another session of Ask Zak, of course with myself, Zak, and my trusted colleague, Albert.
Good evening, Zak, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to another session of Ask Zak. And yeah, Zak, today we are going to chat about preparing for auction with our ruminants.
Very, very important. Of course, if you look at your Facebook pages, there's a lot of people that's advertising their auctions, and of course this is the time of year that a lot of the auctions happen. So when we look at preparing your animals for an auction, it is very important that you go in with the right conditioning. Now, feed is definitely a part, and Albert's going to touch more on the feed. But when we look at our animal's health, it is very important we feed a healthy animal. If you've got a massive worm load within your animal, you can give the best feed, and of course it's not going to help because you're actually feeding the worms, or even your worms are competing for internal resources such as the food that you give them, or sometimes even blood, plasma, anything like that. So that is a challenge on the animal system. So very, very important. Make sure before you start your prepping for the auction that you've dewormed your cattle. It will help you get a good start. Of course, another thing is, luckily we're in the winter now, so our tick and fly, our external parasites, they will be much less now. But we always make sure. I know we don't always dip as regularly in our winter months, but it's very important to keep your dipping roster. We just start skipping maybe a month or two when it comes down to our dipping. The main reason for that is we want to for the winter, if we don't control it for the summer months, if we don't control our ticks through the winter even, you are going to get a boom in population when it comes down to the summer months, when the temperatures pick up. So very important. Dipping is not just for the summer months, it's for the winter months. You're just not going to do it as regularly. And remember, when we switch over feeds, Albert's going to talk about that, we have to have an adjustment period.
Definitely. No, definitely, Zak. When it comes to selling your animals on auction, we want our animals to be looking absolutely beautiful. We want them to shine, have a nice coat, and that goes hand in hand with what you just said, Zak, with deworming. An animal that is full of worms, that is infested, will have a rough coat. You will see the long hair. It looks like they haven't been combed, and that's exactly the opposite. We don't want that. We want a shiny, sleek, beautiful animal that's got a good shiny coat and a smooth coat, not a rough coat. That is definitely one of the things that we're looking for. So when it comes to feeding, just like Zak mentioned, is that we have to do a transition period. So first of all, let's decide on our species. So the nice thing is, at Alzu Feeds, we've got a product that is for both. It's for our ruminants. It can be for our sheep, our goats, and our cattle. And that is, of course, our production meal, Zak. Now, our production meal is 25% protein, bypass protein, the majority of that. It's got maize for energy, good bypass protein, some fats as well. So you've got your energy, your fats, and your protein in there. You put it out as a lick. It's got salt in it as well, and a little bit of urea. So not only do we use it to build up condition quickly, but if you have good grazing, you can put it out as supplementary feeding. We put it out as a lick. The animals can eat it ad lib, so their intake will vary. You can look at your cattle to about 1 kilogram a day, and your sheep and goats will be about 1 kilogram for 10. So about 100 to 120 grams per animal per day. But that is a wonderful lick to use when you've got good grazing. Your felt management was done well throughout the year. You've got that roughage in the felt. You've got a lot of feed in there, and you put out that lick. Now, if that is not enough, we have to feed our animals, and that's what most guys do, Zak. You want to look at a full feed, a complete feed that you can feed your animals. So with our sheep and goats, we are going to look at the SK125. That is the Alzu sheep and goat finisher. This is the same feed that we will use if we are putting our animals in a feedlot situation. So it's a feed that will let them gain weight, to help for conformation, that carcass that we want. That's the ideal, what we want. But we can use it to finish off our animals before auction. Remember, our small ruminants, our sheep and goats, enterotoxemia, pulpy kidney, bloed nier. That is the one that we always need to vaccinate for. If you are switching grazing, switching camps, if you're switching feed, you need to always inject vaccinate your animals or inject them with your pulpy kidney, your glutnido and enterotoxima. You have to do that, please. So that's the first and foremost. Your deworming has been done, like Zak said. That's absolutely crucial. And of course, your water is clean and you've got ad-lib hay available. Then with the transition period, like Zak was speaking about, is we're going to start off with our sheep and goats with about 300 grams per animal per day for week 1. Week 2, we bump it up to 600 grams. Week 3, we're going to up to 1 kilogram, and then week 4, we can work on about 1.5 to 2 kilograms that we can give per day for our sheep and goat. We're going to feed them 2 months before the auction. And in this feeding time, let's say you've done your transition period and you do not see the results that you're looking after. Contact your technical advisor or watch an Ask Zak video, but you can then just put out your production meal just to give that supplementary feeding. So we can do that with our sheep and goats by all means. And then on the other side of the spectrum is our cattle finisher, the CF130. Now this is of course available in a mash and in a pellet form. So with our cattle we can go with the mash, there's no problem with that. With our sheep and goats we want to go with the pellets with the SK125 of course. But with the cattle finisher, just the same guys, we need to make sure our animals are healthy, and then we are going to feed them a transition feed. So with our cattle, 3 months before you have an auction, that's when you start preparing. 3 months before, that first month is going to be your transition period. Week 1, again, you're going to work on 3 kilograms per animal per day. Week 2, 5 kilograms per animal per day. Week 3, 7 kilograms. And then week 4, 9 kilograms. The 2 months following that, before you go to auction, you're going to keep them on 9 to 10 kilograms per animal per day. We're going to feed them. We're going to make sure there's always hay available, clean water, and enough bunk space for all of them. And please, don't leave your animals stagnant. Don't let them just stand on kraal. Get your workers to go and take them into the field where they can eat their production meal, they can go in the veld, but just let them be a bit active, not too active, but just let them go around in the camp. If they are feeding in one spot of the camp where you're feeding your cattle finisher, put your water or your production meal or your salt lick on the other side of the camp. That's something that Zak taught me, so that you can have your animals moving around the camp, so you can keep those muscles working and build their conformation, and you're going to make money when it comes to auction day.
Now, something that Albert touched on, and I think we just need to put a lot of emphasis on it, is of course good quality roughage or hay. It must always be available to any ruminant. It is critical for the health of their rumen and of course their growth. If you just give, let's say, cattle finisher or SK125, the animal is not going to perform. You're actually going to make the animal sick. It is the SK125, the Fet Mix, all those type of products are there to assist you with your hay. So never skimp on your hay. And remember, lucerne doesn't go through as roughage. That is a protein source. So don't think when you put out lucerne bales that you've covered your roughage with your animals feeding. It's always either good Aerogrostis, good teff, or if you've got a good mixture that you've planted, Smitsvinger, Blaubuffels, anything like that, then you are on a good foot. But always make sure their hay is available ad-lib, otherwise you're going to run into trouble.
And then of course, if it's the day before auction, there's nothing wrong with giving those animals a good comb and a good wash. Give them a bubble bath or a bath if they are temperamental enough. You can put them in the crush, even put them in the neck clamp and just wash them. And I mean, Zak, we've got a wide variety of shampoos. We've got our horse shampoos that you can use on your cattle. Of course, with your sheep, you're not going to give them a blow dry or a blow wave if they've got wool. But if you've got Dorper sheep or you've got your goats, wash them, comb that hair, do the most so that you can get the best price at auction day.
And of course, we also keep quite a wide range of animal handling equipment. One thing that we also see at a lot of shows, if you show your animals in hand, is of course the cattle halter that you can lead the animal around for. It's also, when you handle your animal with that by hand like that, it also shows a good temperament. So it's also a nice way to show off your animals. But all these things available under one roof, and that's your Alzu one-stop shop. So pop into any of the 20 branches. Of course, our technical team, you guys, Albert, you are also available. Farmers Days, we share a lot of information because that is very important to us, to bring the information over to you guys. So where are you guys busy this week?
So, unluckily this week we've got Youth Day, or luckily we're going to celebrate Youth Day and take the day off like the rest of the country. But the next week we are going to have Farmers Days in the area. So please look on Facebook to make your RSVP at those branches. From the 7th of July, we are going to be having 2 Farmers Days a week again. So in a few weeks we'll be having 2 a week. We're very excited to see that. But just like Zak said, it's a free information day. Come and enjoy the day with us. And just like Zak said, if you need more information, please comment on our comment box right now and we'll get you as quickly as possible. If not, contact your depot, get in touch with your technical advisor and get the help that you need.
And we're closing off tonight, and yeah, it's a little bit on a sad note. We're bidding farewell to my colleague here, Albert, after quite a bit of help and, of course, quite a bit of assistance. Thanks, Albert, from our side. We wish you all the best and blessings to you and your family, and everything beautiful for you.
Ah, thanks, Zak. Thanks to everyone who's been watching. I hope I've troubled you too much over the years online, but thank you so much, and thank you to also Zak. It's been a great ride.
So, guys, next week, tune in, same time, same place. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Say.